Like I said in a recent video, because of the whole debacle with Anthropic dropping the ball and blocking OpenCode access via its Claude encryption, I decided to give OpenCode another try, and even better, OpenAI decided to take the lead and say that they are going to allow third-party harnesses with their ChatGPT Plus and Pro subscription. This means that I gave GPT 5.2 another try, and to be honest, I don't even know why I went back to Opus in the first place. The truth is that I still like Opus and I think there's a place for it, but I went back to GPT 5.2 full time, and when I'm coding, even though it takes a lot more time to respond, it ends up saving me a lot of time. First, it thinks longer, it pauses, and it plans before it answers, and this means that we end up having much higher quality responses when compared with Claude Opus. It also checks for more weird and edge cases. This means that we end up with a lot less bugs inside of the codebase, and that is because it tends to just miss fewer details. Especially if you enable the extra high thinking tokens, it's just going to loop over and over again through the problem and think over the problem inside of the thinking token base. And this means that in the end, it's just going to have much higher quality responses and just see things inside of a code base that Opus usually misses because it is just so eager to jump into the code base and start doing things. Number two, like I just said at the beginning of the video, it also fits more tool setups because GPT 5.2 with the ChatGPT subscription is officially supported in third-party harnesses like OpenCode or Pi. They've officially come out on X/Twitter and said that you are allowed to use your ChatGPT subscription with other tools like OpenCode or Pi, and this is awesome news because while we want to also give Codex a try, we want to use their CLI and see how good it is. These other open source tools sometimes have certain advantages to them that Codex just cannot match. For OpenCode, I think that the TUI experience is just the best one, and Pi has certain kinds of ideas that I still want to explore more that are very cool when it comes to just the workflow and the usability from the point of view of the developer itself. Instead of doing this, Anthropic decided to go the other way and block access to third-party tools like OpenCode, Pi, or even Crush. I saw even in their GitHub that they said that Anthropic communicated with them and just said that you are not allowed to include our Claude Max subscription as part of your authentication flow so that users can use that. Instead, you're stuck with Claude Code, and that's the only CLI or harness that you are allowed to use if you have your Claude Max subscription. Number three, I see that GPT 5.2 makes fewer bold claims and fewer wrong claims. The model is just less likely to guess and sound sure and say things that are just not true. It also says a lot more when it is not sure about something, and while I still double check the important stuff, I do it less with GPT 5.2 because I trust that this, combined with the fact that it has a lot more thinking tokens and it spends more time analyzing a problem, means that when it says we've actually implemented something, I've actually done something, it tends to be true a lot more than when compared with Opus. Number four, and this I admit that it is a subjective thing, it just feels a lot smarter. And the example that I can give you is with machine learning, which is something that I've been trying to learn for the past few months. And when I use GPT 5.2, or to be honest, even GPT 5 or 5.1, it's just a lot smarter and it has a lot more knowledge when it comes to machine learning, while Opus feels that it has knowledge that is very simple, very basic, and it just stays on the surface, while GPT 5.2 goes a lot deeper and it knows a lot more about details related to machine learning, and it can think through again. We go back to the thinking tokens over and over again because that's an important thing, but it just knows how to think through a machine learning problem a lot more, and in the end this means that you're able to actually use it for these kinds of use cases instead of just relying on it for coding and not being able to use it for anything outside of that. And my final point is that the subscription gives you a lot more for the amount of money that you pay for OpenAI subscription for ChatGPT Plus or Pro. You don't just get one model, you also get more tools. This means that you get GPT 5.2 banking, you also get GPT 5.2 Pro if you pay for the Pro subscription, and the research abilities is much better on the GPT side than with Claude. And not only this, but you also get the voice abilities that are much more advanced, and you also get the image generation. Now, I grant you that the image generation is not really that good. I still prefer to use Nano Banana, the Gemini image generation, but still you get a lot more with just one subscription. And the thing that for me makes all of the difference is the research and the pro mode. And while all of this is included inside of the ChatGPT subscription, the thing that makes all of the difference for me is the pro model, because with that I'm able to do a lot of deep research into one topic, and sometimes even when I have a very nasty bug or something that I'm just not able to figure out with CLIs like Codex or OpenCode, I just copy the entire code base into the clipboard and then I paste it into ChatGPT Pro, and it's just able to figure things out because of the way that it works. In comparison with the Claude Max subscription, you don't get any of this stuff. You get a lot less features, and while you get certain niceties with the skills and the Claude code and now Claude co-work, I still think that those are, in my view, just gimmicks when compared to the Pro model. So to wrap up, if you want careful answers, you should use GPT 5.2. If you want a faster back and forth, then you should use Opus. This is the only thing where I think Opus really shines, and that is when you want to go very fast back and forth with the model and be able to just figure out a problem by using the LLM not to do the work for you, but sort of go back and forth. And Opus, without the faking tokens, still has a lot of quality to its responses. So this is, I think, the only point where Opus truly shines. And to conclude and to wrap up this video, I want to say that the best test is your own workflow. So while I've said all of these things, this is only my experience based on the code bases that I work with, based on the use cases that I have, and the most important thing is for you to try out both of these models and see which one works best for you. But at the moment, I think that GPT 5.2 truly is much better than Opus when it comes to coding and other tasks not related to coding. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I'll see you on the next one.